everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Jonathan Scaggs, and I'm a senior project manager in the LA studio, and I'll be moderating the conversation today. For Pride Month, HOK Perspectives wanted to bring together colleagues from around the firm to talk about our experiences as queer individuals in the AEC community. We do have some discussion points, but we will evolve the conversation as it goes. I went for comments and questions. We'll be monitoring that, and we'll answer as we go. Like I said, my name is Jonathan Scaggs, Senior Project Manager. I've been with HOK for, it'll be 2 years tomorrow. My pronouns are he, him, and I identify as a cisgendered gay male.
And I'm Sara Lotz. I'm an architect in the HOK LA office with Jonathan. I've been here for 2 years, just on June 1st, so we got hired about the same time. My pronouns are she, her, and I identify as a queer woman.
Hey everyone, I'm Ignacio. I'm a lab planner. I sit in the Atlanta office around the East Coast, and I've been at HOK for about 7 years. My pronouns are she, her, and I identify as a cisgender gay woman.
Aengus, you're mute. There you go.
I guess I can go next. My name is Aengus Mostacci. My pronouns are he, him, and I identify as a queer person. I am a marketing professional in the Toronto studio, but we do marketing for all of Canada out of the Toronto office. And I've been at HOK for about 1.5 years. And I'll also acknowledge that I'm just coming off the end of having a bit of a head cold. So if I sound raspy or cough at all, please bear with me.
Okay.
Not working in the office today, though.
So do you want me to go ahead, or we'll give Karol a chance
Karol
to...
a second.
Yeah, okay.
Hello,
Good afternoon, everyone.
I made it.
Oh. My name is Donovan Olliff. I'm general counsel with HOK. I've been with HOK since 2007. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a gay male.
Karol, I think the rest of us have gone already.
Hello, could you say again?
You're up.
Oh, all right.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Karol. My pronouns are he, him. I'm from London office. I've worked here for 4 years. My position is, well, almost an architect. Fingers crossed, I'll be qualifying this year. And I'm a gay male.
Yeah, great. So, this is to Ellen and Donovan. You've been with the firm the longest. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and your relationship with HOK?
Do you want to go first, Ellen?
Oh, sure. I'm happy to go first. So I joined HOK, I think, through the usual channels as, trained as an architect. So been working at several architecture firms around Atlanta. And I think it's not so much kind of how I got to HOK, but kind of what is sort of keeping me here that sort of defines my relationship with HOK. And I feel like it's a lot about one of the things that I like is the diversity of our team. Our team in Atlanta is got, all sorts of folks. And, there are young folks and older folks. There are people of color. And so I really enjoy being able to be in that environment, and also to have sort of an extended sort of team across the country and across the globe, and that works on, these projects that are, also, global. And extending, that network of interaction even more. So, I really enjoy like kind of the, diversity of the daily stimulation from different types of people. So I think, that defines a lot of why I really enjoy the work that I do. Here, as a lab planner, I get to engage with, a lot of different types of people and researchers. So I think it's kind of been a really good fit for me here.
Yeah. I just want to start out by thanking everyone for the opportunity to participate in this panel. I think one thing that the panel will show is that the LGBTQ community is a very diverse community. It's diverse regionally, it's diverse generationally, and I think I'm pushing the upper stratospheres on that generational reach. But I think, I think my path to HOK is as informative as, why I'm at HOK. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the path to HOK. My path here was not a direct path. You look back on your life and you think, oh, everything kind of seems like it all kind of fell into place. But in reality, there were a lot of instances where I had to change course. And in some instances, primarily because I was gay. And so I found myself as being a pioneer at several steps in my career. And I think that's an important lesson not a lesson, but an important thing for young people in diverse communities to understand, is that they are often pioneers, and they often are in a position where they have to educate and help people understand, where they came from and where they're going and the world around them. So that's one of the things I kind of go and illustrate a few examples of how that's occurred. So I graduated high school in 1984. That's a long time ago. Had an Air Force ROTC scholarship to University of Southern California. And I packed my bags, went from a small town in Oregon to Southern California to join, participate in ROTC and to go to school, start my freshman year. One of the first things that I was required to do in ROTC was sign an oath that, I was not a homosexual and did not participate in homosexual activities. So this was before Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This was back when it was a felony to, be gay and in the military. And I, at the time I wasn't out. I didn't know what, being gay meant. Of course, living a year in LA, I learned very quickly that, LA had one of the most vibrant gay communities on the face of the planet at the time. And so I learned that, you could have a very successful life as a gay man. And I came to understand that ROTC and being gay weren't compatible. And so I had a hard choice to make at the time. Either I, live in the deepest, darkest closet that was ROTC, or I gave up that very valuable scholarship and did something different. And so I did give it up, and I ended up putting myself through architecture school. I went to Texas Tech University, which is the mirror opposite of USC. It's probably one of the more conservative schools, in Lubbock, Texas, in the panhandle of Texas. So it was a culture shock to go there. But I got through that, graduated in 1993, and started practicing architecture right away. I think practicing at the time initially was, it was a situation where you weren't really fully out, but you weren't really fully in the closet. Your personal life was always kind of separate from your work life. Oddly, I refer to my partners as they, them, not he, him. So it was it was a different type of environment. Things have changed a lot now, where that's not necessarily the case. I do remember a comment that one of the first jobs I got was at a small firm in Austin, Texas, and one of the partners, he just didn't really know what to make of me. He was also from a conservative part of Texas and just didn't really understand, what being gay was about. But he did say something to one of the other, a colleague of mine that I eventually heard. He said, Donovan's gay, but he's a hard worker. So I learned really quick that you can overcome anything. If you're a hard worker, that helps everyone. It helps in all manners of ways. So I practiced architecture for a while and then decided that I wanted to get a graduate degree. And so I went to law school at the University of Houston in Houston, Texas. And after that, my initial thought for going to law school was I thought it would make me be a better architect, and it ended up that actually being an architect made me, be a better construction lawyer. And so I knew that after law school, instead of continuing to practice in architecture, I needed to go work for a construction law firm, which I did. And that was like a detour off into a super conservative, hyper testosterone world of playing golf and practicing construction law in Houston, Texas. So it was a very bizarre sort of detour in my life. But there were very few women practicing at the time in construction law, and there were visible LGBTQ people, none whatsoever. So that didn't stop me from bringing banana bread to the office. It didn't stop me from voting for Democrats. It didn't stop me from doing all of the things that, things that I knew were the right things to do. So after about 5 years there, I was looking very much to get back into working with a design firm as in-house counsel. And so I had the great opportunity to come work for HOK in 2007. So why am I at HOK? At first I was very cautious about HOK. I didn't know what to think of it. There was nothing on its website that gave any indication of where it sat on, LGBTQ issues. I knew that they offered domestic partner benefits, and that was about it. So I was like, okay, well, let's go give it a shot. And so, I moved up here with my partner at the time, who's now my husband. But I did so incognito, not really letting anyone I work with know that I had brought my partner with me from Texas. And but I will tell you, HOK really drew me in. They made me and Dickie feel welcome in ways that, both professionally and personally, in ways that I'd never felt before. We ended up getting married in 2014, and I had our reception at my boss Lisa Green at Lisa and Tom's house. All of my colleagues at HOK were present and supporting, and so for the first time, HOK has been a perfect place where professionally and personally I've been able to have a great work-life balance. So that's me.
I think it's interesting you bring up something about code switching. I think it's something that we've all done. It's the referring to our partners as they and them, or I've even done it. Like I'm married. I'm very out and proud about it. But I wear a wedding ring, and I, as a project manager, am sitting in meetings with contractors a lot, and I get a lot of, "What is your wife's name?" It makes it always a really uncomfortable moment going, well, my wife's name is Kevin, and he's a physician. So it's just, it's one of those weird challenges we always face. Sara, do you have any challenges that you face in the community as a queer woman?
I mean, similar to you, it's the constant coming out. Can I, should I, is it a safe space to do it? Is it not a safe space to do it? And so on top of being a woman in this industry and being an architect and not an interior designer, which is a lot of what people assume I am when I'm at the table. So on top of that, like adding the queer element to it, it's like, when is it safe to be me? And when is it just like, maybe we should just not talk about that and just change the subject real hard if someone's like when you're walking around a project site and someone's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And are you going out with your boyfriend? And I'm like, nope, definitely not. But yeah, so that seems to be my biggest challenge, is just like that intersection of both being a woman and being queer and it's still a fairly male dominated field. And it's like, when is it safe for me to be out? And is this a place to be safe to be out? I think HOK, particularly our LA office, because it's LA, has been really great. And having Jonathan, kind of just having you just be such a champion in the office has been really great. And just kind of like collecting all of us queers in the office has been really lovely. Because, not everyone is, wildly flamboyant and, wearing a rainbow shirt. So no one ever really knows who's who. And, but Jonathan is a beacon of queer in the office, and makes the challenges less challenging.
I've actually never heard that before, so that's really nice to hear. Yeah. So I always loved, like, I learned a long time ago that building community in your workplace was really of the essence for me as a gay man, and how that works. But like Karol and Aengus, how do you build community in your workplace?
Well, here in London, we started. Well, it all started from with one person who was the beacon, just gathering all the LGBTQ people together, and we started with our London committee. And that person, unfortunately, is gone from HOK now, but that was kind of the beginning, and it was just well, first of all, just finding out who, like, people just started joining us, and then it was last year we started going to the first LGBTQ museum opened in London, and like we went there, we joined the Pride together as HOK, and then that was kind of the beginning. It started really organically, and every time there's an event going on or there's a chance to do something together, we try to do that. That's kind of that's kind of it, really. It's all kind of happening organically.
Aengus?
Yes, and I had sort of a similar experience. I joined HOK. We were still sort of coming out of lockdown, and people were starting to trickle back into the office a bit. And so I was able to, not just introduce myself to people as a new hire, but I had recently gotten married. And so I was having those conversations with people. And I actually find that the blessing of the right to be married is that it's an easier, more low stakes way to come out to people, is to just say that, oh, my husband and I were doing this over the weekend, etc. So I gradually found my way to the other LGBTQ plus members in our studio. We had a nice little Pride drinks event last year, which I hope we will recreate. And another thing that I will say sort of about my initial experience coming into HOK as a queer person was that I was in the process of assuming my husband's last name when we got married, and that was sort of in transition as I was starting. So when made me feel strange or out of place for wanting to do something that is totally natural and normal if you're a straight person, but like we take for granted the little things like being able to assume our partner's names, and that being a smooth transition was definitely something that I really, really appreciated. So that is something that I think sort of stands out in HOK.
Yeah. Ellen.
Hey, I just wanted to add a little bit onto the discussion about finding community in your workplace. You know, Atlanta's a very gay city, you know, and we have a great community here, but you don't always find that in your workplace, right? You may be at a smaller firm or maybe at a conservative firm. And, you know, the different places that I've been, you know, there have been a varying level of people who are out or open to be talking about, you know, their identity that way. So, you know, we don't always have the luxury of having another person in the office, but I think, you know, when Sarah, you ask about, you know, when is it safe to talk about something, you know, I think we're fortunate at HOK to have that sort of corporate support behind us to that you know, supports diversity and individualness. But I think, you know, it has to be, you've got to be comfortable with it. You know, you've got to be confident enough to say, you know, this is who I am. And, you know, maybe there's no one else here that is gay. You know, there are other ways that I can connect with you as a person. You know, there are other common ground that we can find in order to relate and have a good working relationship. So, you know, it's, you know, sometimes you have to bring that community along somehow, whether it's just verbally saying, you know, I've got a wife at home, just like you do. Or, you know, we're going out, you know, to celebrate Pride this weekend. And just like, you know, you're going to a game or whatever. But you know, sometimes when you don't have the people there in your office, you might be surprised to find that there's still a community of sorts that supports you, regardless of how they identify.
Donovan?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. You know, coming out takes a lot of courage, and to put yourself out there, whether it's with a group of attorneys at mediation or you're sitting in a room full of contractors. You know, it takes courage to do that. We got married in 2014 as an act of love, but also as an act of political resistance. Okay, it wasn't legal in 2014, and I still feel that saying my husband and talking about my husband in those uncomfortable situations continues to be a political act, continues to be a push forward. My little bit of moving the needle in the progressive direction as much as I can, just in that little bit. So would encourage people to, you know, find that courage. It does take courage.
You know, to buddy off of that, I've noticed that we as gay people are usually saying my husband, my wife. We've stopped using that partner word for that P word for quite some time. And I'm finding that it's heterosexuals who are saying, oh, my partner, or who are unmarried. And it's like, oh, it's a weird reversal for me. It's kind of like, hold on, are they, I gotta figure this one out. But and Ellen, you're totally right about you have to bring the community along with you, and you never quite know what is in store for you at any office. I remember my very first job in LA. I was fresh out of graduate school. I was a member of the Gay Men's Chorus, and the managing principal came up to talk to me and invited me out for drinks. But I actually had a rehearsal that evening. And I was like, actually, I can't. I have a concert this weekend that I have to go have a rehearsal for. And she goes, oh, what are you rehearsing? And I was like, really under my breath, I'm in the Gay Men's Chorus. And she goes, oh, come with me. And I'm like, I'm getting fired right now. And we walked across the office, and she goes, this is my wife, Kim. And it like started to introduce me to every single queer member in the office. And it was, you know, it was large multinational company based in the UK. And I was like, this is going to be a very, very corporate, buttoned up place. And that my first day became just an easy thing to do. But that kind of leads into the next question. What are challenges to coming out in the workplace? And do you feel a need to do that? Karol, I'll go with you.
I don't think when I started work at HOK, I don't think anyone assumed that I might not be gay. But the challenges with that, from like speaking to other people as well, I think the main one is will people take me seriously if I come out as gay? Because at the end, like construction and architecture industries are such a like heterosexual male driven industries that if you come out as queer, people don't the main fear, I think, is just to not feel respected for that. I think that's the biggest one. It wasn't my case at HOK, but I think that's like the biggest thing.
Ellen.
Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of fear because we know that everyone deals with stereotypes, and that can be based on the visual that someone has of you, how tall you are, how much gray hair you've got. All of these things influence how people kind of perceive you. And, it sometimes it takes a little bit of time, when I was first entering the workforce, I was not, super open. I mean, I did not hide the fact that I was gay, but I wasn't the first one to bring it up and volunteer that information. And I think, as you start to build confidence in, your skill set of whatever it is you do, that sort of also enables you to be able to say with confidence, here's another part of me that, that you should, that I want you to know about, and makes you be able to not, dwell on that, but, show like, all the other aspects of your, of who you are. And so that this is, it's part of you, but it's not all of you. We always are fearful that that's all that someone is going to see is, your, sexual orientation or whatever. So I think, over time, that confidence, develops and puts you in a good position to be, to be who you are, and be that with, pride.
Donovan?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Ellen said. It comes with confidence over time. The merit of your position and your hard work are always going to show through. They're always going to supersede that. And you will find that at first it might be a little flicker in their eyes, but eventually they're through it. They're over it. So, with time you'll gain confidence. And also I want to just say, something that's always kind of driven me is I've always just kind of been driven by the belief that, I can do anything, you can do better. So I don't know if that helps, but, have that like little inner courage that you can do what they're doing and you can do it better.
I love the musical reference. Aengus?
That's going to be stuck in my head now all day. Thank you.
That's from Andy Gets Your Gun for everyone. So, yeah.
Just to add to what Donovan said, in my experience, anytime that I've been sort of afraid or hesitant to reveal parts of myself in the workplace or in other relationships, I find that when I am most authentically myself is the thing that people actually really respond to. And it's oftentimes the things that I'm afraid to show people when I do have sort of the courage to reveal those parts of myself to people. My working relationships and my personal relationships get deeper because of it. So I would encourage everyone to be their most authentic self, because that is what people really respond to. And Jonathan, we sort of talked about this previously, but I'm also a member of the Gay Men's Chorus in my city. So if you are looking for something fun and community-based to do as an LGBTQ plus activity, I suggest looking for your local choir, because it is amazing and fun.
Yes, very much so. You know, with the current political climate, and kind of the anti-LGBTQ social agendas that are out there, how does that affect your work-life balance? And I think I kind of want to go to Ellen and Donovan, knowing you're both in pretty red states.
Red state, but blue city.
Yes, yes, yes.
Donovan, I don't know. I want to think on it a little bit, but
Sure.
I don't know if you have some initial thoughts.
Yeah, I'll just share a few things. So I've lived, the entirety of my adult life in the reddest of the reddest states. Okay, Texas and Missouri. You can't get any redder than that. And but I think Ellen's point is important, is that they're, the cities are little blue dots and in big seas of red. And you just gotta, not, for me, the political noise that goes on is it can get you down. It's discouraging. It's discouraging to hear Missouri pass, anti-trans laws. Or limiting transgender care. It's discouraging to hear, everything about, bars on drag performances, and we were at such a high watermark in 2015 with the right to marry, and then it's just seemed like it's been, really kind of eroding. But I think what you find is you just have really strong social communities, within these little blue dots that you build support on. And there's the strong community is at work. Everyone at work is supportive, whether it's from, the XCOM, to the people that I work with on projects. They're, everyone is supportive. And so you focus on that. You try not to let the noise get to you. I believe that it's also important to look at history, and look at where we've come from a historical perspective. I was kind of thinking about this the other day. My husband and I went to Puerto Vallarta for a week, and it was Gay Pride there, and there's the rainbow flag there. And I was thinking back at a time when, in the early 80s or mid 80s, when, there wasn't really, the rainbow flag wasn't the symbol of gay community. Everyone was trying to debate, is it upside down triangle? Is it what is it going to be? And all of a sudden the Roman colors just kind of took off, and now you go everywhere from, Puerto Vallarta to Buenos Aires to Paris to London. The gay colors are everywhere. And so I try to focus on those symbols of progress and movement in an arc that ultimately will lead towards, better positions for all of us. It'll be back and forth, but my belief is that it gets there eventually.
Yeah, I have to agree with Donovan. Like, you can find it very discouraging to continuously be like beat down by these, election results and things like that. And a lot of the things that you see in the news or on social media. But you just gotta you gotta try not to take the weight of the entire movement on your own shoulders. You know, we have a community, but, you know, you can control what you can control. I mean, go with what you know you can control. You know, you can control the narrative in your little bubble if that's all that you can do. But, you know, don't lay down and give up, because you know, it starts with one person, and that one person could be you. You know, so those are, you know, really important things to remember, that, you know, even if it's just you that feels this way, doesn't mean that you're alone, and doesn't mean that you've got to shoulder it all on your own. That there are folks out there, that are gonna support us and support, stability. So just, you know, as just trying to keep it positive when we see all this kind of bad stuff around us. It's kind of how I see it.
Sarah?
And just to add to some of that, I think as our, you know, generations are finally coming into power in places, I because we lost a whole generation of gay men, you know, so those men who would be our CEOs, would be, you know, could have been political leaders at the age that they would be now. You know, we're a generation behind. You know, it's not just women, it's queers and women. We're that whole generation behind because we didn't have those, we lost all those men. So we're finally getting into those positions of power and leadership. And as disheartening as it is, the political climate right now in the United States, I think with our upcoming generations, as we're moving into leadership roles and CEO positions and political powership positions, and with the backing of all the lovely younger generations and their queerness and wonderful openness, I think we are going to see a significant backlash against these anti-trans laws and all the anti-LGBTQIA stuff. But it is disheartening to see it right now because, you know, we did all those men that we lost, you know, it's a whole generation of them. So
Yeah, definitely. So really quickly, what do you wish people were more conscious about in the workplace when it comes to LGBTQ issues?
Honestly, sometimes it would just be nice to be in a space where people don't say to the group, "Hey guys."
Yeah. You know, pronouns matter.
Yeah.
And it, you know, even for me, like I've had friends who have transitioned and it's been very hard for me to change their names, but I know that if I use their dead name or their dead pronouns, like that's not what you do. Like, you know, you've got to punish yourself a little bit.
It's the assumption. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say that it's all about it's the assumptions that people make based on your appearance, or like in my case, if someone doesn't see my face but they see my name and they automatically assume that I'm a woman because my name is Karol and I live in the UK. So I'm automatically a she, and I think it's the assumptions that are like the worst, and I think I wish people were more just wary of those, whether that's you know, name, you look, or your pronouns, like, and hi guys. Yeah. So yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to all the folks in the South that are using y'all. I see that in the chat, and that's something that you know, I
y'all
hold
is
to anyway.
such a great one.
Y'all is easy.
But I love the y'all means all. I mean, that's been, you know, something that I like to keep in mind because it matters. You know, when you start to use language and words and labels, you already start to set yourself up with constraints psychologically. So, being more proactive in the way that you speak and the word choices that you use, sets you up for being more open-minded, I think.
Yeah. So this is really a question for everybody. What are you doing to celebrate Pride this month, and what does it mean to you? I mean, I can go first. So like this weekend, I marched with Build Out Alliance, which is a really large AEC community. It brings together architects, engineers, contractors. You can see Sarah's clapping, she's part of it. We run the full gamut of the building industry, and it's just really nice to see 50 people in LA who are LGBTQ and ally and just all coming together, putting on rainbow hard hats and going out and showing who we are in the community. Aside from that, we've got our concerts that we all go to, but really out, I live in Inglewood, California. It's traditionally a very African-American neighborhood, but I have a pride flag outside, which now my next door neighbor has, and another house across the street now have one up. So it's been really nice to see that kind of growth from the community.
I mean, besides being on this amazing panel, just the general pride parades and parties here in LA. LA has so many. Specifically though, for me, Dyke Day is really important, as being part of the Dyke community here in Los Angeles. That one, just because I love you, cis men, but there are some days I don't want to be around you. So having Dyke Day is just really lovely here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I have to say, reconnecting with your community and your gay friends, sometimes, we can't do that like during the pandemic or whatever, but sometimes, even just coming out of the winter time, it's like, oh, we haven't seen folks in a while or whatever. And, that's kind of how it is here. We actually, in Atlanta, we have our formal sort of pride events happen in October, but like during June, when we used to have it, and there's a whole weird thing of why they switched it up. But anyway, they still do have activities and stuff going on in June to commemorate sort of the Stonewall uprising, and just I think community getting together and appreciating the support that we have for each other. So breaking out our gay flags and trying to just reconnect, I guess.
We'll definitely put out our rainbow colors. We have a golf cart parade that we participate in, which is a lot of fun. It's in a small community here where everyone gets together and a lot of rainbow colors. This year we're going to attend a dinner and a drag show, which is a kind of a new event in support of illegal drag performances. So we'll see how that goes. But it's interesting. It's a good time to kind of reflect, kind of on the progress that we made and the challenges that lay before us. So yeah.
I'm very excited for Pride Month this year. About maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Toronto expanded its Pride Weekend and Pride Week celebrations to include programming for the entire month. So there is something going on basically every day in the month of June here in Toronto. We've hosted World Pride, and our Pride celebrations are one of the most well-attended in North America. But the centerpiece for Pride this year for me is going to be the choir that I sing in's June concert. which is called Pride and Prejudice, where we are going to chart the history of LGBTQ plus resilience and strength through song, but also through some skits in between the songs, which, not to give too much away, but it touches upon bans on drag and drag story hours. So if you are in Toronto on the weekend of June 17th, please message me on Teams and I will send you the link for tickets, because we would love to have people come to the performance for sure.
Karol, do you have anything to add?
Well, for me, it's definitely going to be the London Pride on the 1st, which this year aligns with my birthday as well. So yeah, that's the one for me.
That should be a lot of fun. I've been in London at Pride. It's a great experience.
Yeah,
it really is. The whole city really transforms.
They do. Yeah.
And I actually will be in Toronto for Pride in a few weeks. So
Well, look me up.
We definitely need to get together. So really, I think this has been a great conversation. Would anybody like to share anything else before we wrap things up?
Just more of a thank you to HOK higher ups that, supporting this kind of panel and just allowing us to talk about this and, be queer in the workplace and support us.
Great. All right. Well, I'm seeing a lot of, so if you're raising your hand in the chat, you're muted, so we can't actually hear you. If you want to put it into the chat, we can address it then. Or you can put it into our Pride at HOK channel. Sorry. Okay, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you. So everybody's aware, the LGBTQ Alliance here at HOK has been rebranded from the Friendly Society to Pride at HOK. It is led by Aengus in Toronto, Katie Lopez out of Houston, Tim Wingert out of San Francisco, and myself. So if you want to join it, please look us up. We are Pride at @HOK, or send one of us a message and we can get you on that channel. But I just want to say thank you all for attending, and a special thanks to Jonathan Lynn for putting this together. Remaining questions can go onto the Pride at HOK Teams channel, and a recording of this will be up on the Hub very soon. So with that, happy Pride, everyone, and have a safe and wonderful month.
Happy Pride.
Absolutely.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Pride.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you.